Hi, my name is Summer. I have been a student at Omni Montessori for 9 years, ever since primary. In these years, I have learned a lot of skills and valuable lessons that can be useful later in life. I have also formed many fond memories with both classmates and teachers throughout the years. My symbol consists of 9 parts, each one representing a year at Omni. Here's the first one. This canvas represents my first year at Omni. I went into Miss Elvira and Miss Crystal's class. As you can see, this canvas has a light pink gradient and many thick clouds. The gradient on this canvas represents how shy I felt during that year. I was extremely reserved this year because this was my first year at school and I didn't have many friends. The clouds show how stressed or insecure I felt that year. This painting has heavier clouds because, again, as I said before, I didn't have many friends. This was my first year in school and I didn't really know how to socialize. This next canvas represents my second year in primary, when I went into Miss Melissa's class. As you might have noticed, there aren't any clouds on this canvas. The reason for this is because I started to acquire more friends that year. There's still a gradient on this canvas which shows that I still wasn't the most confident, but I was starting to feel more comfortable. This canvas represents my third and final year in primary. This canvas is solid pink because it doesn't have a gradient or any clouds. This is because this was the year that I felt the most confident and had a good group of friends that I would do a lot with. I don't have many memories from primary, but one of the few memories is that first thing in the morning every day I would make orange juice using the juicer and oranges that we had in the classroom and give it to Maddie, Isabella, Charlotte, Nat, and Jacob. I don't have many more memories from primary, but I do remember that my favorite work to do was the 5 chain. I don't particularly know why, probably because the multiples of 5 were satisfying for me. Now on to the next row, lower elementary. As you can see, this canvas has a couple of heavy clouds and no gradient. This is because when I first came into Lower L, my friend group got split up between Mr. Owen's class and Miss Kim's class. I went into Mr. Owen's class with Maddie, Charlotte, and Nat, while Isabella and Jacob went into Miss Kim's class. Now on to 2nd and 3rd grade. I don't really remember much from Lower L, That's why these canvases are mostly blank. Like primary, I only have a couple of memories from Lower, even those aren't very exciting. One of them being when in second grade, when we were supposed to have our overnight camping trip, it was raining really hard and we weren't able to stay outside, so we slept in the classrooms. I stayed in Mr. Owen's class. I also remember that my favorite work to do was racks and tubes, the material that helped you learn division. I enjoyed this work for a couple of reasons. One, because I liked doing division, and two, because it was fun to pick up the little spheres with the tubes. Also, in third grade, Natalie, Mario, and I got a lesson on the different kinds of fruit. For follow-up of this work, we went to the store and bought as many kinds of fruit as we could. When we went back to the classroom, we started to dissect and eat those fruits and categorize them using the chart that we made. This was fun because we got to eat a lot of fruit. Next is upper elementary. This is fourth grade, the year that I went into Miss G's class. My assistant teachers were Miss Monica and Miss Diaz. This year was probably my favorite year here at Omni. Although we had a big class, my brother Jeevan also being there, which was kind of annoying. I made a lot of great memories during that time that I hope to never forget. One of which is when we went to Caswell Beach. Most of the girls were in the same room, and the 6th grade girls kept playing the CD that Miss G gave us. And everyone got so sick of No Roots by Alice Merton and Good Old Days by Macklemore. But we kept listening to them over and over again to the point where a lot of us basically memorized the songs. As you can see, this canvas doesn't have any clouds. This is because I knew almost everyone in that class already, so I didn't feel really uncomfortable being there. There is, however, a gradient on this canvas, the reason being that since there were so many people in that class, I felt a bit overwhelmed. This canvas represents my 5th grade year. This was the year that Miss G's class got split back up into 2 classes. I left Miss G's class and went into Mr. Owen's class. Our class was very small and we didn't have any 6th graders. This canvas has a couple of thick clouds and no gradient. The reason being that the transition from a class with almost 40 people to a class with only 16 people felt a bit odd. There were less people to work with, and my lower elementary teacher was now my upper elementary teacher. Lastly, this canvas is my 6th grade year, the current year. As you can see, it is mostly solid pink, and you may not be able to tell, but there are some very light clouds on this painting. It doesn't have very big, thick clouds because at the beginning of the year, there were more people and I felt a bit more comfortable. But I also had bigger responsibilities now that I was in 6th grade. On the Blaken campus, the 6th graders are the eldest ones, and we have to set a good example for everyone. Here are some of my favorite memories from 5th and 6th grade. One time in 5th grade, we had to pick up my cousin from her school, and she told me to read this series called Keeper of the Lost Cities. I wasn't that interested in the series when I read the first couple of chapters, but when I started getting into the series, it got really good. So I told Jackie to read it. Jackie and I enjoyed the books, so Natalie started reading the series. Now, while I'm in 6th grade, we got most of the 6th graders to read it, and a couple of the 5th graders from our class reading the books, and some of Miss G's class. We even got Miss Monica to read it. Another memory from in the Bottle Tree classroom started in 5th grade. We have storybooks in our classroom, and each one has a different genre on the front. In these books, we were supposed to have a group of people, and one person writes a sentence, and the next person would write the next. Jackie and I grabbed a book that no one had written in yet, and the genre was folktale. Jackie and I weren't sure what that meant, so we asked Nina, our assistant at the time. She told us that it was a story that had a moral to it. We couldn't think of a very good moral and somehow got to the topic of how to spell cantaloupe. We eventually figured it out, and Jackie wrote at the very top of the first page of the book and put tape on it so we couldn't erase it. And because we couldn't erase it, we just made that the title of the story. The moral we decided on was don't judge a book by its cover, except literally. Natalie later joined us in writing the story. We weren't going to include anything about a cantaloupe in the story, but then we did, so the original intention wasn't fulfilled. We ended up making a sequel to it, Watermelon, and wanted it to be a trilogy. But we never got to finish editing the second book by the end of this year because school was moved to a remote environment. As you can see, once I put all of these canvases together, there is a quote. "Art is never finished, only abandoned," by Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was a very famous inventor and artist that lived in the 15th and 16th century. His most famous pieces of art are the Mona Lisa, the Last Supper, and the Vitruvian Man. This quote inspires me because it's saying that a piece of art is never truly finished. One way to interpret this is seeing the art as yourself. You are never done growing as a person. This, of course, is only one way to interpret this quote. There's also the literal way. When you think you are done with a piece of art, it is abandoned, but you can still go back and add more detail or change something that you didn't like before. This canvas that represents my 6th grade year completes my journey here at Omni, as I will unfortunately not be going to the adolescent program next year. In some ways, you can connect this to Da Vinci's quote, "If I am the art piece, I am abandoning my work here at Omni, but I, the art piece, am never done, and I will keep learning and growing in my many years to come." I will leave Omni knowing that the people here have taught me well, and now I can face any challenge if I put my mind to it. Some of the people that I would like to thank that got me here are my teachers, Miss Elvira, Miss Crystal, Miss Melissa, Miss Maria, Mr. Rowan, Miss Stacy, Miss KK, Miss G, Miss Monica, Miss Diaz, Nina, and Miss Christine. My friends, Jackie, Luciana, Maddie, Natalie, Isabella, and Sarah. I would also like to thank my family for always being there for me when I need it and providing me with the privilege of going to this great school. I know that my journey is far from over, and I will still have a lot more growing to do, mentally and physically, as I'm almost taller than all of the 5th graders. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you have a great day.
Hello everyone. I hope you are all having a good day. My name is Isabella Delacali, and I have been at Omni for 9 years. Softball is my passion, so I decided to incorporate it into my symbol. For my symbol, I made a trifle that has all of my softball pictures through the years. Some of these pictures I will explain. I also wrote a short story which I will share with you. I've learned lots of things in my years so far. For starters, I know I'm not always going to win or lose. And it's how you handle those moments that's important. I started t-ball when I was 3 years old. The only thing you're worried about at this age is how you put on your uniform, because it's pretty hard. Playing ball is all about having fun and learning the game. People don't care if you run to the wrong base or anything. They just laugh and that's it. My last year of t-ball, I had a great coach. We lost every single game, and then our end of season tournament was coming up, and everybody thought we were going to lose. But our first game, we actually won. We haven't won a game all season, and yet we won this one. Everyone was very shocked. We had the next 3 games, and we won them all too. At this point, everybody was pretty speechless. Next thing you know, it was time for the championship. We start playing, and then we actually won yet again. I honestly don't know how we did it. After that, we had a big party and celebrated. This was when we won our t-ball championship. And that was just t-ball. Next, I was moving up to 8U, and I was very nervous. But all I did was take what I knew with me, and it helped me become the person I am today. Later, my mom took on the role of becoming commissioner, which is a lot of work. She's the one who started up the program again and gave me a somewhere to play that was close to where we lived. We had to rebuild the fields and the fences and basically start from scratch. When I started 8U, I realized I wasn't as good as some of the other girls in 8U. I didn't have as much fun, and I really just wanted to do dance. My parents were coaching my team, and we did pretty good. The girls on the other team were also travel ball players, which means they had a lot more experience. Even though we did lose a lot of games, it didn't make us any less confident. We kept going and got better and better. We learned the rules and the basics. I started to just have fun. My parents always say, yeah, we have games, but what matters is what you do in practice and in your alone time. I always go by that and took that with me to 10U. When I started 10U, I was as confident as I've ever been. I had this new feeling that I could do this. That is, I could do everything except the pitching machine. I had a practice in 8U where I got hit, and I've been scared ever since. A girl came up to me and said, "You're not very good at this." I replied, "I know." And we've been friends ever since. Things really started to turn for the better. I tried out my first challenge team and I made it. I was so excited. We started practices and I played first base, center field, and pitcher. We went to our first tournament and did pretty badly. We grew from our mistakes and moved on. In total, we played about 4 tournaments. We got second place twice, so that was pretty good. I tried out for the All-Star team and I made it. My parents coached the team and we won one of our tournaments. We were so excited because this was Waxhaw's first win. We got second place twice, third place once, and sometimes we just didn't do good at all. At the time, I played for both the rec program and the All-Star team. I had practices 4 nights a week, and I was excited to move up to 13U, and was very confident I would do good. 13U was already off to a good start. We had a really good rec team, and we're winning all of our games. My favorite moment was when we were playing against Mara. I was up to bat, we had bases loaded, and the last inning we were down by 3 runs, and there were 2 outs. I was in the batter's box not thinking about anything but the ball. I went to hit it, and I hit a home run. We won the game, and everyone congratulated me. It was one of the best moments. Right here was at the end of that game. With the rec league, we always have an end-of-season tournament. We were undefeated in our regular season, so we knew we were going to do well. And we won. Everyone was so happy. I tried out for Venom, which is a travel team, and made it. I had practice every night of the week. The good thing is, our uniforms looked really good. They're my favorite uniforms. We played in 2 tournaments, but didn't win. We had to stop because of the pandemic, but we're still starting to get back to it. I learned there will be ups and downs. There will be times you feel as if you're a leader, and sometimes you can't do anything to help. Some days you will give everything you have, and it might just not be enough. I've learned that I need to lean on people as much as I do myself. I've learned a lot over the years I've played. It's not always about winning, although it's sure nice to win sometimes. I look back to when I was little, and I've grown a lot, and I'm excited for the years to come and see what happens next. I would like to thank my mom and dad for always being there and always being very supportive. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would like to thank all my family for always being there and coming to all my school celebrations. Thank you to all of my teachers for helping and always guiding me on the right path. And thank you to all my classmates for being there. And just thank you all in the Omni community for being a part of my life. Thank you for everyone who's listening and for following me in this journey, and I can't wait for the years to come.
My Sixth Grade Speech by Henry Fox. I was in 3rd grade when I learned that I would have to do a speech for 6th grade, and as you can imagine, I was nervous. I thought I had time, but here I am, 3 years later. It really crept up on me. I've never experienced much change in my life before, so I'm quite nervous, as well as excited. Excited to move on to a new stage in my life, excited to enter a new kind of environment. Since I'm going into a new chapter in my life that will be filled with new memories, it feels right to describe some old ones. I think I've changed so much since the beginning of my life, so this is a reflection as to honor the journey of becoming who I am today. Many of the friends that I've had since primary have left, so I also want to credit them for helping me. In primary, my favorite and one of the only memories I have was when my friends and I would have characters from movies and TV shows like the Lego Movie and pretend to fight each other. The most popular thing to do in lower L was all of the reports. Some of the reports I did in lower elementary were bald eagles, the immune system, and something on ancient Egypt. I forgot. It's been so long. And a NASCAR one that was unfinished. There were no computers in the lower elementary, so all of the information was gathered by books, which is something I really liked. Sorry to lower elementary and primary, but upper elementary was my favorite by a long shot. Here are a few things I like specifically about upper L that is distinct from any other class I've ever been in. One thing that was different is that in lower L, you would have a homework log in which you would record how long you read, played outside, etc. And it was very easy. In upper L, you would have a log, skills work, and a project. I especially enjoyed the projects because there were many options, and I like having a wide variety of choices for my work. The expectations in upper L are much higher than anything I had experienced previously. As I got older and got to the upper L, I was suddenly responsible for much more work. I feel like the pizza business gave me an idea of what it is like to be part of a company. The pizza business was very fun because it gave me an assigned job with important duties. I enjoyed the level of accountability that it gave me. I feel sad that I will be moving on from it, but I know that in the EP there will be more jobs like the pizza business, but way more complex. I will take the skills I learned during pizza and help use them to help run the AP microeconomy. The AP businesses will be harder for me because they are run entirely by students and involve multiple jobs you have to do every day. I know that the AP will give me even more of a taste of what it is like to be in a big business. I feel happy that I will be taking on this challenge, but also quite a bit nervous because it's way more important than the pizza business. In the upper elementary, I started to produce higher quality work. One example of this is the auction art, which is way harder to do, but the results are amazing. For some of us, the auction art took hours, and I know that Rowan and Christine took a lot of time to prepare it and help other students complete it. As a younger kid, the auction art was very straightforward. You would do a fingerprinting or something simpler. But in the upper elementary, we had a multi-stage screen printing quilting project. Thinking about all these memories has made me realize how much I have grown during the course of my childhood. I've become more patient, flexible, and I think kind. When I reflect on my Montessori experience, I think of two words: fun and educational. Fun because of the things we did like the auction art, the immersion project, and spending a lot of time with my friends. Little things that I did with them were always the best. Some of my favorite things that I've done with my friends were playing card and board games at lunch, a time usually filled with laughs and jokes. I enjoyed working with them because when we were actually focused, we could help each other and produce beautiful work. The reason why I think Omni is educational is because, well, it's school. During my time in Baldwin, I've been able to improve on many academic skills. My favorite subject in school is probably history. I've always been fascinated by what happened in the past. Some of my favorite historical work that I have done are The Greatest Story of the History of the Universe, which is basically the story of how the universe was made, and Rifle Sir Wadey. Rifle Sir Wadey is a book that we read for one of our book groups. It is a historical fiction novel set during the Civil War. What I liked about it is that it was very easy to read, at least for me, and it was a very well-written book. While reading Rifle Sir Wadey, I learned what life was like during the Civil War. Out of all the work I've done, I particularly enjoyed one piece of work, and that is my report on farming. If you did not already know, farming is a report that Charlie, Miles, and I did together. Even though we did not finish it due to the coronavirus pandemic, it was very fun to research and write. Although I am sad that I will never get to finish a report that I spent so long working on, I am very happy that I got to spend that time with my classmates. During the time that I wrote farming, I realized how much work it took to write something that will keep people engaged and attentive. While I can promise you that I did not enjoy online class as much as regular school time, there were many moments that I liked. For one of the assignments during remote learning, we had to choose a skill to try to develop. I chose photography. During the time I've been doing photography, I've found how soothing and peaceful it is. The only part of it that I don't enjoy is that it's kind of creepy to be alone in the woods in the middle of the day. But that doesn't stop me. I'm just saying, in case you are worried about my safety, my parents know where I am, and the woods are behind my neighborhood trail. I have always liked trees. I find being around them peaceful. It should come as no surprise then that I chose a tree to be part of my symbol. As you can see, my symbol is somebody climbing a tree. In real life, I love to climb trees. I like how it gives you a feeling of danger, but there is not much of a risk you will get injured. The tree is a metaphor for my passage through childhood. At the beginning of the tree, there are more branches. The branches are a metaphor for help. Help from your teachers, relatives, and friends. These branches make it easier to climb up the tree. But as you go up the tree, the branches become fewer in number. And sometimes the branches might break. And you will fall down. But you can always get up and try again. When you were younger, you might need more help, but as you progress through your childhood, you start needing less help from others. Also, as you get higher, it might become more important that you be careful, because at a phase like college, if you make a mistake on an important test, it could affect you for the rest of your life. Just like the tree, the higher the climb, the more potentially dangerous a fall becomes. Once you get to the top of the tree, there is usually a beautiful view or a sense of accomplishment, or it could be a mark of completion. What I mean by mark of completion is something like graduation. It's a mark that you have finished school. The reason I use Legos is because I think Legos are very simple to put together, and I do not want to use a material that was very hard to construct. As easy as it was to put together the Legos, it turned out that building the tree wasn't so smooth. When I got my Legos off eBay, it said they would be here on the 8th, which did not happen. They ended up coming on the 12th. When the Legos came, I realized they would not be enough, meaning I would have to order more. Even though these inconveniences happened, it was very fun to put all the Legos together. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to say that my mom and my dad helped me put the blocks in place. Since we're now talking about help again, I want to thank everybody who has aided me in my life, especially my parents. They have been so supportive of me through everything, which is something I appreciate greatly. They buy me materials for school, they drive me around to places, they paid for me to do soccer, which is exceptionally expensive. The list goes on and on and on. I could probably name 25 things at the top of my head right now. I'm not saying I don't appreciate my mom as much as my dad, but I would like to especially thank my father. Due to the coronavirus outbreak, he has to work so hard to provide for our family and not lose his job. No joke. Sometimes he even goes to bed at like 1 a.m. after working until then. I really admire and appreciate his work ethic and commitment. My dad inspires me to try and work as hard as he does every single day. Now I want to take my teachers as well. I've always admired my teachers, but now since we are self-reflecting, I've realized how much I really do appreciate everything they do and their ability to handle most situations with respect and kindness. And last but not least, my friends. While I enjoy all my friends and the memories we have made together, there's one friend I especially want to talk about, and that is Charlie. The first time I walked into Omni, I was nervous and wanted to make friends. Charlie came up to me, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but we immediately became friends. Charlie is leaving the school next year, and even writing and reading this, I'm becoming a bit sad because we won't see each other quite as much. I guess change is a part of life, and it is good that I'm dealing with it now rather than later. I'm about to move into a new part of the tree, a segment where there will be fewer branches. I'm ready to experience these new limbs, which can represent my teachers, new friends, and a different type of work. For the first time, I'm not at the top of the tree yet, but I'm on
Hi, my name is Lucas Higgs, and I've been at Omni for 9 years. And I've chosen the llama as my symbol. I chose the llama as my symbol because it is my favorite animal. I also like llamas because they're cute and fluffy. I started liking llamas in the first grade. Llamas were among one of the first domesticated creatures. Llamas and alpacas are affectionate and social. The females keep the herd members in a line. People have observed the herd members caring for each other. Llamas can also endure harsh environments very well, giving them the symbolism of perseverance. Llamas and alpacas can adapt to severe climates, which makes them very hardy. The llama spirit can roll with life's punches and can roll them off as well. I can use this in my life to always remind me if there is a difficulty, I know if I put my mind to it, I can overcome any challenge. If a llama hears an unrecognized voice, it will alert the whole herd with a loud bray. They communicate by humming to each other. If they don't like something, llamas will spit at it. We should take the llama's guidance to just spit it out. This means if you have something to say, don't keep it in, just say it. Llamas remind us that it is important to always talk to each other so problems don't build up. A llama is strong and can carry a heavy load, but if you overload it, it won't move. The llama will not take a single step until the load is lighter. Whenever I feel overwhelmed with schoolwork, I will talk to Miss G, and she helps me work out a schedule to finish what I need to get done. This makes me feel less stressed and lightens my load. I encourage you to ask yourself, how much is on your plate now? Is it time to lighten the load and get rid of some of your burden? So as you can see, llamas are more than just cute and fluffy creatures. Llamas can remind you to be adaptable and work with what you have to persevere when things are hard. Llamas' unique ways to communicate can help us figure out different ways to talk to each other to work out our problems. If we all try to be like llamas by communicating and persevering, we can all lighten our loads. One of the reasons I like Omni is because it makes learning fun. One of my favorite memories from primary is doing the pink tower. I remember lower elementary having fun making maps and doing math all the time. I always had fun playing with my friends on the playground and after school. The past few years, I loved doing physics with my friends. I enjoyed playing sports and doing art the whole time I was at Omni. I also liked camping with my class. I remember jumping off of Butterfly Rock into the freezing cold river. It was really fun. After all of these years, I would like to thank my parents for taking care of me and paying for my school education and playing with me. I would also like to thank my friends for always being there for me. And thank you to all the teachers and assistants for giving us a good education and for helping me if I'm having trouble with work. Last but not least, thank you staff for always helping us when we needed it. And thank you Omni community for all of your support. Next year I will go to the AP campus and I will bring my llama-like perseverance and smarts in the future. I hope to go to a good college and fulfill my dream to be an engineer. So thank you everyone for what you have done to help me so far. So this is goodbye until next year.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Berman, and I've been at Omni for 6.5 years. I entered Lower L in the middle of my kindergarten year when I had just turned 6 years old and transitioned from a public school. When I think of my time at Omni, the first word that comes to mind is freedom. Throughout Lower L and Upper L, my teacher, Rowan, often talked about the balance between freedom and responsibility. We have the freedom to choose our work in the class and the responsibility to get that work done. Freedom is something that is important to me. Before I came to Omni, I went to a public school. There we didn't have the freedom to do almost anything, and we weren't trusted to be on our own. This was upsetting to me because I liked being trusted with what to do and having some choice. We were told what work to do and when to do it. We had to ask permission to go to the bathroom, and it seemed my teacher yelled nonstop. My mom told me that I came home crying from school quite often. I remember one playtime when my friends and I asked the teacher to go inside and use the bathroom. She said yes and gave us her keys. For once, we were allowed to go somewhere on our own. We went inside to use the restroom. The person who had our teacher's keys flushed them down the toilet by mistake. We ran outside in a panic and apologized, but she didn't ask who did what and instead blamed us all and yelled at us. This made me feel angry because I wasn't being listened to and I was scared by her tone since I was only 6 at the time. Even though we were so young, we understood that we had made a mistake. We had upset our teacher by flushing her keys down the toilet, and we wanted her to listen to us. When we tried to explain that it had not been all of us and was accidental. This was upsetting to me because, again, I liked being trusted. When I came to Omni, I was amazed by the amount of freedom we were given. I could sit wherever I wanted and work either independently or with whomever I chose. I loved having this freedom. I was able to advance more quickly in some areas while moving more slowly as necessary in others. I have always loved math. Rowan noticed this early on, and I was able to do much harder and more advanced math than I would have at a traditional school. This love of having freedom is the reason I chose the United States as my symbol. The United States was founded on the belief of personal freedom, among other things. This idea is very important to me and one of the main reasons why I love Omni so much. When the founding fathers of our country outlined the government, they centered around freedom for the people. The Constitution of the United States starts with, "We the people." I think that this is important because it is stating that the government was founded for the people and by the people. This relates to the way we do things in the bottle tree class. In our class, all of us get some say in how the classroom works. For instance, this year we had a committee in charge of creating guidelines for the Upper L Ninja course. The committee created the original draft, and then the entire class made suggestions and requests, and then we voted on them. During the time the United States was founded, there were hardly any other governments like that in the world. The founding fathers took ideas about people contributing from the Athenian democracy and the Iroquois nation and formed the government we have today. Here's a story that shows how I became interested in the founding of our country at an early age. My dad has always been fascinated in American history, and when I was either in 1st or 2nd grade, we started to read books together about the history of the United States. I had just read a book with my dad about the beginning of the Revolutionary War and Paul Revere's Ride. I found this very intriguing. So my friend Madeline and I decided to put on a play about it. We wrote the script, cast the play, practiced and directed the entire thing ourselves. That is one of the best things about Omni. That you are able to pursue whatever you desire and work on unique projects. Another one of my favorite memories from Lower L was my 1st grade holiday program. Our class was doing a piece that Rowan wrote called The Sounds of the Classroom. Each person got a material from our classroom or behaved in a way that they would if they were in the classroom, and we performed them in a way that people could hear the music and rhythm found in the sounds in the Montessori environment, such as someone sweeping, playing the tone bars, or crumpling paper. My job was to cut with a paper cutter. Rowan was supposed to bring it out for me because I wasn't supposed to carry it, but because of a windstorm downtown that blew many of the other materials all over the place, which he then had to go chasing after, he forgot to set it on stage before the curtain went up. I sat there for the entire thing, pretending to use the paper cutter. I remember feeling confused as well as embarrassed as I sat there pretending to use the paper cutter, but I learned an important lesson. That things don't always go according to plan and you just have to roll with it, and that people make mistakes. Next year, Rowan made it up to me by letting me introduce the skit we did. For my first year in Upper L, I had Miss Jean, Miss Monica, and Miss Diaz as my teachers. Since there was only one Upper L class at the time, all of the 4th through 6th graders were in one class. During this time, I met Jackie, who later became one of my best friends. In 5th grade, I went into Rowan and Nina's class. One of the best moments from that year was the first day. I remember walking into the classroom and wondering where all the materials were. The students got to decide where the materials went. We made guidelines for things such as snack, movement, and the computers. We even got to decide how we did homework, with Rowan's guidance, of course. Over the course of the next few days, we got to set up the classroom together as a class. I really enjoyed having the opportunity to set up my classroom and having a say in where the materials went. Another great thing about being in the Bottle Tree class is that we decide how we spend our budget. For instance, this year, 2 students organized a field trip to Anne Springs Clothes Greenway and proposed it to the class. We approved the purchase and went a few weeks later. These are just a couple of examples of how Omni gives you the chance to be independent. As I mentioned before, with freedom comes responsibility. If we didn't follow the guidelines for something, we wouldn't be able to use it anymore. And if we didn't get our homework done, there would be a consequence, which is that the 4th time you didn't do your homework, we would have a meeting with our parents to discuss how we would do things differently in the future. With the budget, we have the freedom to choose how the money is spent and the responsibility to make reasonable purchases that benefit the class. If we don't, the class will suffer the consequence of not having the money to buy other materials in the future if we spend it irresponsibly. One of the best moments from 5th grade was a spring trip. We went camping at Joyce Kilmer National Forest. A funny moment, but probably something we shouldn't have done, was on the drive up to Joyce Kilmer. I was in a car with Gabby, Jackie, and Nina. Nina got out of the car to use the bathroom. While she was in there, we all got out of the car and hid behind it. She almost had a heart attack when she came back and saw we weren't there. The consequence of this was that we had a conversation about how scared and upset she felt and what to do differently in the future. This is yet another thing that is so great about Omni. In a traditional school, the teacher would have yelled at us, but instead our teacher talked to us and helped us realize what we should change in the future. 6th grade was by far my favorite year at Omni. This is the year I learned how to be a leader. For the first few days of school, when it was just the 6th graders, were days that I hope I will remember forever. One moment that stands out from those couple of days was playing a game with my teachers, Rowan and Christine, and the rest of the 6th graders we called the Fuzzy Fish. We had to throw a ball in between our legs to another person who had to catch it with one hand. Throughout this exercise, we had to be encouraging of one another and work together in order for us to be successful. Another thing I like about being a 6th grader is being a pizza manager. I was a manager for the first 2 months of pizza. I really enjoyed learning how Pizza Friday works and operates, as well as helping to run the business. One of my favorite places to go is Sleepaway Camp. I've been going since I was 6 years old. There we are given a lot of freedom. We can wander around and go wherever we want during the day. Some of my favorite memories were made there. I love being able to do anything I desire without anyone instructing me. This way I'm able to learn through mistakes and experience rather than having someone tell me the way to do things. Last year I was even able to get my U.S. powerbending certification. I did this because I was motivated for myself so that I could then drive powerboats and not because anyone said I was required to. From the first time I set foot in Rowan's lower elementary classroom to the end of my 6th grade year in his upper L class, I have made some memories that will last a lifetime. I would like to express gratitude for the people whom without this experience wouldn't have happened. I would like to thank all my teachers, Rowan, Miss Stacy, and Miss KK in lower L, and Miss Jean, Miss Monica, Miss Diaz, Rowan, Nina, and Christine in upper L. I would like to thank my friends for their caring and support, especially Jackie and Summer, who have been my best friends throughout upper L. Most of all, I would like to thank my parents
Hi, my name is Killian Andrews, and I've been going to Omni for 8 years. This is the reproduction of the Lombardi Trophy, which is given to the winner of the Super Bowl every year. The reason why I chose the Lombardi Trophy is because sports have always been a big part of my life at Omni. Mr. Owen was very influential because he coached 8 seasons of football and soccer, but football became my favorite. Anyone who knows me knows I love football. I started playing football in 2nd grade. That year, we went undefeated, but I only scored 1 touchdown. I remember it like this. I got the handoff and ran towards the end zone. I also remember my best friend, Braden, running in front of me and pointing towards the end zone, as if I was a clueless noob. Oh wait, I was. I played 1 more football season in lower elementary. After that, I skipped U10 and went straight for U12. That's when it got hard, like really hard. The challenge was something that was really good for me. It toughened me up, not only on the inside, but on the outside. I realized you may not always win at games or at life, but you have to keep on going. Although we didn't win a lot of our games that season, Mr. Rowan would always give the best after-game speeches that made me feel like I won the Super Bowl. I know I'm making Mr. Owen seem like the guy who could calm Cam Newton down after winning a game, but he's not the only coach who encouraged and believed in me. I would also like to thank Coach Shelley and Coach Chris for never giving up on me and always supporting me. You've all made a big impact on my life. In my 8 years at Omni, I have come to see that Omni is like the playoffs. Primary is like the wild card round because it is the first level of something great. Lower elementary is like the divisional round where all the teams or classes clash together. In this level, kids might leave because they don't understand the importance of Montessori education. Upper elementary is the semifinals, which is where you slip into the groove and are granted more independence and start figuring things out. Finally, Montessori Middle School is the Super Bowl, but instead of getting a big trophy, you get a great education and many lifelong friends. My favorite Montessori memory was in my first year of upper elementary. We went to Caswell Beach. Even though it was the end of the year, that trip really showed me the importance and freedoms of upper elementary. For many years at Omni, I looked up to an older friend named Jack Sandoval. We only spent 2 years together. It's kind of like how Tom Brady looked up to Joe Montana. I hate to say it, but I was Tom Brady in this scenario. When I got into 6th grade, people started looking up to me. Again, just like the Tom Brady and Joe Montana situation. Miss G also noticed that others were looking up to me. From then on, when I made a bad choice, Miss G would say this: Killian, people look up to you. If you do that, then all those people will think it's okay. To all the people who look up to me, don't slide a chair out from underneath someone. To Miss G, thank you for pushing me to the best student and leader I could be. To Miss Monica, thank you for sharing so many laughs with me and showing me the bright side of things. I know I made mistakes in my leadership role in upper elementary, but that's one of the best things about Omni. You are given the space to learn from your mistakes. The teachers and coaches have never stopped believing in me and have forever changed my life. But there is a price to pay for this amazing education. I would like to thank my mom I know she's made many sacrifices to send me to Omni. I would also like to thank my dad for driving several hours on weekends to cheer me on during my games. I'm excited to see what new challenges and surprises are granted to me at the Waxhaw campus. I'm confident that I have the motivation and determination to make this Super Bowl level of my Montessori the best it can be.
Hello, my name is Charlie, and I'm a 6th grade graduate from the Bottle Tree classroom. To represent me, I chose a glowing fire as my symbol. It has 3 parts. Each of these parts combine to make a larger fire. The first piece is a symbol for my time in primary. The second is for lower L, and the third is for upper L. When I entered primary, I was the youngest kid in class, and I was feeling overwhelmed and scared. I did not want to be there. But after a few weeks, I made friends. We loved to play games, and I started to like school. About halfway through the year, I was asked to buddy a new kid. His name was Henry. I figured out pretty quickly that we had a lot in common. We were the youngest kids in the class. We liked a lot of the same things, such as soccer, being competitive, and movies. We became really good friends. In fact, we are still better as friends. In primary, I evolved because I was getting attention in lessons while still having fun. The fuel for my fire in primary was receiving new lessons and playing with friends. I learned the most about myself in primary. I learned what I liked, how well I worked, and how I can earn friendship. This knowledge was like fuel is to a fire. Without these 2 things, I would not have been able to get to where I am now. My favorite lessons were the stamp game and the pink tower. The fire is getting brighter. The light signifies the flame of my fire getting brighter, larger. When I progressed into lower L, my fire kept on getting bigger. My teachers, Miss Kim and Miss Portia, were probably the most important part of this. In lower L, I started doing more group work, and because of this, I made more friends. Henry and I were in the same class, and we always wanted to work with each other. But we also started working with other people too. Among these people were Emery, Jacob, and Lucas. Our group was nearly always together, but still kind of working. And my fire grew because I made friends that were a lot like me, learned more complex lessons, and worked much harder. One of my favorite lessons was cubing. Also, lower L was when we were allowed to play sports. I played basketball and soccer, and loved every part of it, except for losing. In lower L, I did not like to lose. If I did, I would almost always break down and cry with frustration and disappointment. The lessons about breathing and mindfulness that I learned in lower L helped me get over these emotional low points. And it felt really great to play a game without caring if I won or lost. My fire grew through sports because I learned to be fair and how to be a good sport. The area where I developed the most in lower L is probably in the emotional section of myself. In 3rd grade, I learned how to control my feelings better, and it felt great. I made it to upper L, where my fire didn't stop growing. This was mainly because the lessons challenged me a lot and the work level was so much more advanced. When I went into Bottle Tree for the first time, it was a big surprise because the classroom was completely empty. Everyone in the class got together in a big meeting to decide how we wanted to set up the classroom. We made a lot of decisions, and everyone pitched in to help carry out the ideas that we came up with. In Bottle Tree, it was like a campfire. I was surrounded by friends and had a good time while putting in a lot of work. Everyone felt cozy and safe. while still having adventures and working on new projects. One example of this is a lot of the time when we played games outside, it would be a group game, and there were a lot of new games that we learned to play. But everyone felt safe doing it, even though they were treading on new ground. And of course, we had an excellent campfire storyteller in Mr. Rowan. Overall felt really good because I was able to have a lot of fun in this class while still doing all the work I had to do. So I occasionally got tests done while I was having interesting conversations with my friends. As you can see, my fire has grown a lot. The biggest part of my growth was the lessons and friends that Omni gave me the opportunity to meet. I'm sad to say that I will not be going to the AP, but Omni has offered me all that I could ever ask for in my first years in school. And I could not have gone to another school and gotten the same experience. This has been the greatest time of my life, and I will always remember the Omni community because it gave me great memories and helped me learn who I am inside. Hopefully the places I go and the experiences that I have will continue to stoke my flame.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Madeline Corving, but if you know me, you probably call me Maddie. I've been at Omni Montessori school for about 9.5 years. As of 3 years old, Omni was my first school, and I am very happy about that. For my symbol, I decided to make a cake out of books. The cake is wrapped in jujitsu belts of different skill levels, and the silhouettes are me. Now, reading, cooking, and jujitsu are the things I've enjoyed the most so far. Since I was 2 years old, reading was a place for me to escape, to have a haven to go to when some days is what read the best. As you may know, I have loved to read since my first year in primary. Every year my love for reading has grown stronger. Through hard times, books have always been there for me whenever I need them. If I'm feeling sad or depressed, books act like a best friend, someone I can always turn to, like a guide. Some of the first books I read were in my early first and second years in primary. Now, as you can see on my pedestal, we have a few pages from Dr. Seuss, as well as Magic Tree House, a few from Jeff Kinney, and of course Harry Potter. Alright, another thing I remember from my childhood is when I was cooking. I was going through some pictures the other day, and I didn't realize how much cooking meant to me. In one photo, I was making little cakes out of flour and water, and even to decorating them with some flour and water sculptures, and even Wizard of Oz cake toppers. Now, I gotta admit, there were some melted plastic incidents, but back to the speech. My Oma and Grammy really supported me with cooking. From delicious apple pies to creamy mac and cheese, they gave me a foundation. Without cooking, I don't know where my eating came from. I mean, of course, a love for cooking fosters a love for eating. So, in 3rd grade, I started jiu-jitsu. My dad had been doing it 3 years earlier, and for the last 4 years, jiu-jitsu has been my way of expressing myself. It makes me feel empowered and loved, and my dad does it as well, which has made us closer. Recently, I received my yellow and white belt, which felt really good. I'm glad that I go to jiu-jitsu for fun, not because I'm bullied. I'm so grateful for this school. When I was in Miss Elvira's class, we used to have a reading circle. And as I mentioned, reading was one of my favorite things to do. So Miss Elvira used to allow me to read to the whole classroom. I felt very independent, and it was my favorite part of the whole entire day, other than playtime. I like to call the primary years to white belt years because you're still finding your place and you don't know where you're going to go yet. On my symbol, this is the first tier of the cake with the white belt. In lower elementary, my teacher was a fun, quirky, imaginative Mr. Rowan. Now, Mr. Rowan always encourages us to use our imaginations and write awesome stories. One year, we had to do a writing project for summer homework. I loved to sing, and my favorite singer was Gwen Stefani. So for my project, I wrote a 16-page report about her and her life. For Halloween, I even dressed up as her. pretty embarrassing. Now, a lower elementary memory I also remember was when the roller coaster report was founded. It consisted of me and a few other friends, and all we were doing was writing down all the roller coasters we could remember in our tiny little brains. We would brag about how we would go to Carowinds just to see how the roller coasters work, but we really just wanted to ride Fury 325. I also remember that every Friday we made a class snack, according to the snack wheel. Me and a friend decided to make chocolate gelato since we were both Italian, and what's better than creamy ice cream. Now, we thought cocoa powder tasted good, because if it smells good, it's gotta taste good, right? Well, that wasn't the case. Let's just say it did not taste good at all. Lesson learned. Less can be more sometimes. Now, lower elementary was also when I started jiu-jitsu. As I said, it really gave me something to do, and it made me feel really independent. I made many friends and presumed to keep going there over the years. These are the middle of the book cake with the gray belt on the front. These years are when I started to find my place, but I wasn't there yet. When I first stepped into Miss G's classroom, the two upper elementary classrooms were merged in 5th grade. Now, everyone was so nice and welcoming. My favorite memory from upper elementary is probably Pizza Friday. We had jobs every month, and I always looked up to the managers, but my favorite part was eating the cold pizza. In my opinion, it's much better than hot. Now, I also loved going to Camp Thunderbird. It was the first trip I went on with the class, and I made so many more friends. Now, later that year, we went to Joyce Kilmer, and that was straight out awesome. So we went on so many hikes, and we played in the lake many times. It was a real learning experience, especially because we learned how to set up tents, and we learned how to cook a real delicious meal. Now, we also went to Butterfly Rock by the river one day, and there were many butterflies on it. It was really beautiful. We also did soapstone carving. This is still one of my favorite things to do. In 5th grade, I really found my place. I was hanging out with all of my favorite friends, and I really felt good. In 5th grade, we went to Caswell Beach instead of Joyce Kilmer. It was awesome. It was really magical. The first thing we did was go on a walk on the beach, and we saw tons of dolphins. It was like something out of a movie. You wouldn't believe it. I have come to realize that all of my triumphs and mistakes would not have been possible without my parents. Through all of the highs and lows, my parents have always been there for me no matter what. There have been difficult times in my life, and my parents make me feel safe and loved. Thank you, Dad and Mom. I would also like to thank my friends. Through highs and lows, they have been there for me as well. And last but not least, I would love to thank my teachers. Miss G, Miss Monica, Mr. Rowan, Miss Stacy, Miss KK, Miss Melissa, and Miss Elvira. Thank you so much for being my teachers. I discovered that because of this crisis, I'm not able to say this speech in front of my friends. So I hope I made this memorable anyways. Sadly, these years don't last forever, though I wish they could. Thank you and good night.
Hi, my name is Jackie Rao. I've been a student at Omni for 9 years now since primary. I would like to share how thankful I am to a few people that have guided me to this moment. First, above all, I would like to thank my parents. Without them working hard every day, I wouldn't be here. They invested their hard-earned money into my education and have encouraged me throughout my journey here at Omni, and I wanted to extend my gratitude towards them and let them know that it paid off. Omni has been an amazing experience that I doubt I would have received at a traditional public school. The school has taught me so much beyond just academics. It has also given me skills that I will use for a lifetime. Second, I would like to voice appreciation towards the rest of my family for all the kindness, love, and help that they have always shown to me. For example, assistance with my quilt. Third, I would like to thank all my teachers and assistants, Miss Kati and Miss Raquel in primary, Miss Kim, Miss Julie, and Miss Portia in lower L, Miss G, Miss Monica, Miss Diaz, Miss Nina, Miss Christine, and Mr. Rowan in Upper L, and Miss Maria in Spanish. I remember being scared by some of these people at different points of time. When I was a third year in primary, I was sick the day I was supposed to visit Mr. Rowan's class. I remember being so scared because that meant I had to visit his class alone without any of my friends. I remember hoping that I would get to be in Miss Kim's class. It turned out that I got both. Miss Kim was my teacher for my first year in Lower L, and Mr. Rowan guided me in Upper L. In 4th grade, I was scared of Miss G and Miss Monica for the first few weeks. Now, looking back, it all seems funny that I was scared of these people. I would also like to acknowledge all the other staff here at Omni that always seem to have a smile on their faces. My journey at Omni started off in primary. While I don't remember much, my family kept a lot of my projects from those years. Recently, I was sorting through all my sisters and my work from primary and Lower L and found my reading record. For those of you who are not familiar with reading records, they are small booklets where a parent would record the books that their primary child read aloud to them and the time spent. The first book on my reading record was called Matt plus Rags. Similarly to primary, I don't have that many memories from my first year in Lower L. What I do remember is writing a lot of reports. My favorite memory from 2nd grade was when Isabel and I had finally completed our respiratory system report and diorama replica. I remember feeling so proud after all that work spent on it. My favorite memory from 3rd grade was when I had finished my ice cream report, which had spanned 2 years. Miss Portia allowed me to arrange a going out to the Waxhaw Creamery. I was able to bring a few friends to watch how ice cream was made in large quantities. The best part was when at the end we got a cup of whatever ice cream flavor we wanted. In my first year of Upper L, I was with Miss G. This was when the Upper Elementary was one joint classroom. My favorite memory from 4th grade was when Natalie and I would chase Mira around every playtime. Thankfully, Mira was really nice and didn't seem too upset, though we did get a little reprimanded from Miss Monica. In 5th grade, the Upper L classroom was split into 2. I transferred to Mr. Rowan's class, later changed to the Bottle Tree class. Our class had no 6th graders that year. When we all walked in that first day, the class was completely empty. There were no materials or anything. It was so fun to get to set up the classroom the way we wanted it to be. It might not have been 100% organized by the standards of some adults, but the class ended up looking the way we wanted it to. My favorite memory, though, was when at the end of the year, after the last day of school, our class had an ice cream social. Parents and siblings came. During the ice cream social, we ate ice cream, saw a play that Natalie and Summer had directed, played outside, and watched a video that was made with pictures from that year. My favorite 6th grade memory was when Natalie, Summer, and I were writing Watermelon. Watermelon is a sequel to a story we wrote last year, Cantaloupe. It was fun creating another story and collaborating together. We made sure to keep it top secret so that nobody would be able to read or hear it before we presented it. Unfortunately, I don't think that we will be able to present it at all. We had already typed Watermelon out and had gone through a round of corrections from Rowan and Christine, but we hadn't been able to share it with our peers. My hope is that even though us 3 won't be in this classroom next year, that somebody will read it and possibly complete the Melon trilogy with a 3rd book. Work like this has led me to a better understanding of myself, for example, my skill of writing, which I love. Earlier this year, we were given a homework assignment, and one of the options was to find a symbol of peace that is not the dove or the peace sign. I chose to do this project and started to research peace symbols. This was how I found out about Sadako Sasaki and recognized the importance of the paper crane. The story was so meaningful to me that I wanted the paper crane to be my symbol. Sadako Sasaki was born in Hiroshima, Japan. When Sadako was 2 years old, an atomic bomb was dropped on her city. Fortunately, Sadako and her parents survived the blast without any apparent injuries. Sadako grew up like any other child, but in November 1954, Sadako's ears and neck started to swell up, and in January 1955, red and purple spots called purpura started to form on her leg. That month, she was diagnosed with leukemia, a type of blood cancer, linked to the radiation from the atomic bomb. On February 20th, 1955, Sadako was hospitalized and revealed that she had only 1 year to live. Many other children in Japan suffered the same fate. While she was in the hospital, Sadako's father told her about an old Japanese legend that if a person folded 1,000 paper cranes, they would be granted one wish. Sadako set herself the goal to fold 1,000 paper cranes so that she could be granted a wish. The inspiring part was that she didn't want to wish for her own health. Instead, she wanted world peace. That was her one wish. Even though Sadako's health was declining, she was determined to fold 1,000 cranes no matter how weak she was. But on the morning of October 25th, 1955, Sadako died at the age of 12. Some people say that Sadako was able to meet her goal of 1,000 cranes, but some people think that she only folded 644 and her friends and family finished folding the rest. Regardless of the number, Sadako was buried with 1,000 paper cranes. In 1958, a statue of Sadako holding a golden crane was revealed at the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park. Her statue symbolizes the thousands of innocent children that died due to the radiation from the atomic bombs, and the paper crane is now recognized as a symbol of peace. Sadako Sasaki's story inspired me to choose the paper crane for that homework project. I wanted to find a way to incorporate it into my 6th grade symbol to share the importance of cooperation and nonviolence. When I think of my experience here at Omni, I think of how peace has been a part of my journey. Physically, the environment of the Omni campus is very beautiful. There are many tall trees, 3 grassy fields, and even a small pond with fish. While it might not always be quiet during playtimes or lunch sessions outside, if I just sit down, breathe, and block out the noise of other students, I know that the natural world will envelop me in a calming energy. Physical violence is also greatly discouraged at Omni. While there is some deliberate destruction such as vandalization, this, as well as negative emotions such as anger, frustration, and sadness in general, has been brought to my attention very rarely throughout my years here. Not only is the campus great, but peace is a quality that Omni encourages for their students to have through the development of mutual respect. The paper crane is also a symbol of hope and optimism around the world. After Sadako Sasaki's message of peace, hope for a better world with cooperation and an end to hate has been associated with the paper crane. Sadako didn't give up because she had leukemia. Instead, she decided to set herself a goal to begin a new world, one with peace. She always had hope. Throughout my whole educational life at Omni, perseverance was encouraged. Enduring through our challenges, no matter how hard they are, would be the path to personal success. While in the Bottle Tree class, self-respect and respect towards others were concepts that my classmates, teachers, and I were working on together. We reminded others to act more positive if they were becoming negative and help each other assume the best of everyone. This perseverance and optimism is similar to the hope that Sadako felt for world peace. Paper cranes are also a symbol of happiness. It isn't so hard to find the connection between happiness and Omni. Just being on the Omni campus makes me feel happy. Throughout all my years at Omni, happiness, like peace and hope, has always been there for me. The paper crane doesn't represent Omni or myself. Instead, it symbolizes the values that Omni has given me. This inner paper crane is made up of hope, peace, and happiness. My representation of the paper crane is embroidered onto a quilt. I embroidered the paper crane in gold to even further represent the precious qualities Omni has shared with me: peace, hope, and happiness. I chose to sew my quilt out of navy blue fabric, the color of the night sky. I did this because even when it is pitch black outside, there's always some sort of light, even if it is invisible to the naked eye and is light years away. This is just like in life. Even in a person's darkest moments, these inner qualities, peace, hope, and happiness, will always shine. Though I will be leaving Omni next year, I know that my future will be illuminated by my paper crane. This paper crane will constantly be folding, creasing, and changing, just as my understanding of these qualities will continue to grow as I become older and hopefully wiser. While I was creating my quilt, I was also thinking about the symbolism of the creation of a quilt. Sewing together a quilt by yourself would be hard. It would take a lot of time and energy, especially for someone like me who is not as experienced in quilt making. I asked my grandmother and great-grandmother to help me make it, 2 proficient quilt makers. Together, we were able to finish the quilt in around 2 weeks. Of course, we had our share of problems. The fabric was the wrong type and the wrong size, and at one point, the sewing machine broke down. But using what we had, we created a quilt that is still beautiful. This resourcefulness was a skill I acquired at Omni. Planning out this quilt was hard work as well, but using 2 skills I had learned at Omni, organization and forethought, made it a lot easier. My grandmother and I debated over how to proceed with the quilt at times, but another skill I learned at Omni, resolving a conflict calmly, helped us sort out our issues. Learning together and the respect for other opinions is a collaboration that Omni teaches to their students, a cooperation that is one step closer towards a more peaceful world. Peace, hope, and happiness are important ideals. For me, recognizing that these are notable qualities is even more significant. I think people like Sadako Sasaki that wish for world peace will be proud of a school like Omni that shares paper cranes with each of its students. I'm so grateful for all the knowledge and strength Omni has given to me. While I will not be returning to Omni next year, all the lessons and values the school gave me will not go to waste. Using these gifts, my paper crane, I hope to help others fold their own paper cranes through my life and work. I know that I will always remember this wonderful school, and I am sad to leave it. Once again, thank you, Omni, for being such an amazing environment. I hope that you will have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Faris. I've been part of the Omni community for 4 3/4 of a year. I arrived at Omni in November of 2015 and enjoyed the second year of lower elementary with Miss Portia and Miss Julie. My 6th grade symbol is a quilt. I chose the quilt because a quilt has many diverse characteristics. The quilt represents Omni and my time here. The quilt is warm and cuddly and represents the comforts of home. A quilt is always there for you. Everyone loves a cozy quilt. Many people look forward to the end of the day when they can snuggle under their quilts. Omni is like my home where I feel safe and protected because there is much love, respect, and acceptance. I used 5 different patterns of fabric to craft my quilt. Each row represents 1 year at Omni. The patterns are crisscrossed and are in different places on the blanket because life is not a straight path and is full of changes. Every year has its twists and turns, ups and downs, and its highs and lows. The words on the quilt represent attributes that I think are fitting for my years at Omni. The first word is different. I came to Omni from a public elementary school in the middle of the first semester. The Montessori way is very different compared to traditional learning. Montessori is unique. It teaches children practical life skills, academic skills, and how to be part of a larger community. The Montessori materials allow children to explore many different aspects of our world. Montessori students have a lot of freedom. We are able to choose where we sit, choose from a variety of different work, and converse and interact during our work. I love the freedom found in our classrooms. A word often linked with freedom is responsibility. There's a common saying in Montessori that, with freedom comes responsibility. We Montessori students value this tremendously. We clean up after completing our creative projects. We are careful and mindful in the kitchen. We cooperate with each other in taking care of our classroom. These are very important life lessons. The second word is creativity. Montessori children are very creative. We are given opportunities in our work to explore our creativity in many different ways. The immersion project was a great example of this. The third word is fun. All my years at Omni have been great fun. I love spending time at Camp Thunderbird, and the experience taught me a great many things about myself. I am thankful for such an experience. The fourth word is independent. I chose this word because in upper elementary, I became more confident, and so I started to become very independent. I learned how to manage and work in our pizza business, I learned how to manage my time more efficiently, and I learned how to take care of myself, my workspace, and my belongings. Being independent is what Montessori is famous for. The fifth word is determination. Had COVID-19 not interrupted the school year, I probably would not have chosen this word. The word I may have chosen would likely be leadership because 6th graders are expected to be leaders. Then COVID-19 came into our lives and we all had to have determination to see us through it. This word represents all of the Omni community, not just me. We have all been very brave this year and I think we all deserve medals. From our parents, teaching and supervising online learning, to the kids organizing themselves and working through so many changes, and especially the staff of Omni working extra hard to make online learning possible, I think it's incredible how far we've come in the past 2.5 months, and everyone deserves a big thank you. On the back of my quilt, I drew a tree. This tree represents me. The tree symbolizes the seasons of change. In spring, there is new growth when the little buds appear and the tree begins to bloom. This is like the beginning of every school year. In summer, the tree is full of greenery. The leaves represent all the different things I've learned. In the fall, the leaves of the tree change into beautiful colors. This represents the different skills that I can apply to my life and community. In winter, the tree goes dormant and rests in preparation for the new spring that's coming. This represents the time off in the summer that allows us to rest and relax before the new school year begins. The cycle of the tree and the changing seasons is like the journey of my life. Whatever winds might shake and bend the tree, however many leaves the tree grows or loses, the tree remains strong and rooted to the earth. When I look back, I don't remember much of my 2 lower elementary years, except that I enjoyed lower elementary very much. I remember it as a time of fun and freedom, as well as learning the Montessori way, which was new to me. I remember my upper L years more. I will not recount all my memories as they are numerous. I have enjoyed my years in upper L so much that I sometimes wish I could start all over again. I have loved the upper L and I am deeply thankful for my time here with Miss G and Miss Monica. I have loved my time at Omni in all years. I have learned many things and skills in the Montessori way. I have discovered many things that I like, including math and puzzles. I sincerely hope my experience in the future will be as much like my past years as possible. I would like to thank so many people. First of all, I would like to thank my parents, Mariam and Faris, for choosing Omni for me and for helping me every step of the way. I would also like to thank my sister, Hanan, and extended family for always being there. Second, I would like to thank all of my teachers, especially Miss Portia, Miss Julie, Miss G, and Miss Monica, for being there for me every step of the way, for being so supportive, and for helping to create many wonderful memories. Third, I would like to thank all of my friends at Omni for making my time here so special and enjoyable. Lastly, I would like to thank the Omni community, especially Miss Cindy, for all the love and support that they give us all. I have enjoyed my time at Omni so much that I will always look upon it as a joyful experience. I have made many friends here, and I hope to keep their friendship for many years. As I come to the fork in the road, I hope that my journey forward will be just as beautiful. I look forward to the future with sadness for leaving my elementary years, but with hope for new experiences, friends, and memories. The Omni family is incredible and loving, and I am so blessed to be part of it. I am deeply grateful. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Andres de Gabriel, and I have been in Montessori since I was 3 years old. I began my Montessori journey in the primary at an Omni Montessori school in Charlotte, and later transferred to Omni in 5th grade 2 years ago. My favorite memory from primary was when I did all of the bead chains in 2 days. My favorite work was using an immovable alphabet to create stories. In lower elementary, my favorite memory was from when I went on my first overnight school trip to Seabrook Island and away from my parents. I was only in 1st grade and the youngest kid in the class. I remember my mom being really nervous, but the cameraman sent like 16,487 pictures so she could sleep. When I came to Omni, I joined the upper L with Rowan. This was a difficult transition for me because I didn't know anyone and no one really knew me. One of my favorite memories was when our class went to Camp Thunderbird early in my 1st year. I remember playing basketball by myself and was approached by Miles Morgan, Xavier, and Henry L. We played basketball together and had a lot of fun. Then I made more friends in my class and felt like a part of the Omni community. We really enjoyed talking about sports every morning and doing movement together. What I liked most about Upper L was the immersion project. I liked all of the crafts that we did. My favorite craft lesson was either pottery or mask making. I have discovered that I am a hard worker and that I like to get my work done. I also like to be a leader and help others with their work. One of my strengths and favorite forms of expression is playing sports. I really enjoyed playing on all of the Omni sports teams and appreciate all of the coaches. My favorite memory from playing sports at Omni was last year's basketball team. Everyone on the team played very well over the course of the season and learned to work together. Our team made it to the championship and lost, but we still played very well. The lesson learned was that no matter how many skilled players are on the team, if you don't work together, you will not succeed. The same applies to life as in sports. Collaborating in projects, reports, and other forms of work will produce better results. Several people have helped me throughout my life and my time in Montessori. My parents have been my biggest influence in this journey because my mother was a Montessori teacher and my father has always supported me along the way. An example is that my parents have always provided us choices and allowed us to give our opinions on decisions. My brothers have also been through Montessori, so we have learned to work hard and help others. My grandparents have helped raise me and are a big part of my life. I spend a lot of time with them and appreciate the things they have taught me, such as Spanish, pottery, fishing, and how to play pickleball. The friends that I have made at Omni, especially Rowan, have supported me and challenged me to try my hardest and to be the best I can be. God and my faith have probably been my biggest source of strength. I turn to God when I need help and am struggling through obstacles in life. The symbol I am using to represent my journey is the game of golf. I am the ball going from hole to hole or through life. The tee box is the area that I start my journey towards the hole that I am trying to achieve. The tees are my friends who support me and hold me up. Each club is a different person in my life, like my parents, brothers, grandparents, and teachers. I rely on the right club to get me to the hole. The fairway is a comfortable place where you want to stay on your way to the hole. The sand traps, the rough, and the water represent the challenges and obstacles in life, such as my transition to Omni. The hole is a goal or accomplishment that I achieve. The game of golf involves a lot of strategy. Picking the right club is very important, as well as staying in the fairway. Once I get to the green, my putter helps me reach my goal. After I complete my goal, I go to the next hole and try to do the same thing again. I am grateful for everyone in my life that has helped me get through everything. In golf, sometimes you need a driver and sometimes you need a putter. In life, sometimes you need a big push and sometimes you need just a small little push to get where you're going. I would like to thank my family, friends, Rowan, and all my teachers who have helped me to become who I am and helped me fit into Omni. I am grateful for my time here and look forward to going to the adolescent program next year. In the coming years, I plan to add more clubs to my bag that I will swing with greater confidence in order to achieve even greater goals. Practice and patience will also guide me next year as I encounter more hazards along the way. I think that going to the AP will be a new golf hole that will require all these skills that I've learned and need to continue to practice. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jaden Patel, and I have been at Omni for 10 years. Although my family has been a part of the Omni community for 13 years. I chose the pizza as my symbol because throughout my 12 years of life, pizza has consistently been my favorite food. And like me, the pizza has different parts. I think for me, the pizza represents leadership because when I was a manager for the pizza business, it taught me the skills to run a business and to lead people. Each part of the pizza represents different people who helped me become who I am today. The crust is a foundation to any pizza, and my family serves as a foundation for me. Not only do they provide the essentials for me to live, they also provide the love and support I need. They support me by always coming to my sports activities and coming to graduations and other activities. My family's support to me is important because with it, I feel braver to try new things. The sauce represents my education. That includes teachers, assistants, playtime, and other activities. My education has always been important to me because most of the work has been really fun. Not only have my teachers guided me with lessons, they have also helped me figure out what work and subjects I enjoy. The cheese represents my friends. I've had so much fun working with my friends. During fleet play, we always play football, and I think it's one of the most fun things for me to do. My friends have made learning and working so much more interesting and fun. They helped me work harder, and they were always there for me. My elementary years have been so great because I have had so much fun with some of the work and all the field trips. I remember a lower elementary, a friend and I did this long timeline and report about Roald Amundsen. We set a deadline for it, but we missed it and had to stay in from playtime for a long time. This piece of work that I did meant something to me because when we were finished, I felt really proud of it. One of the things I'll remember most about upper elementary was the Pizza Fridays. I loved Pizza Fridays because I loved to sit at a table with my friends and talk and eat pizza. For me, that was the best thing about upper elementary. When I got to upper elementary, I was really nervous at first, but then I got more comfortable, and the upper elementary years were great. I would like to thank my parents for giving me this opportunity to go to Omni. It opened up so many options for me. I'm also thankful for them because they pushed me to be the best person I can be. I would also like to thank all my teachers who gave me a great education and helped me learn so many things about myself. I'd like to thank my friends who I've had so much fun with over the past 10 years. Although I'm sad that I'm leaving Omni, I'm also excited about what my new school will bring. Thank you.
I have only been at Omni for less than a year, so I do not have much to say, but I will say that my experience was really fun and awesome. I made lots of new friends and learned a lot of new things. The people at Omni are very kind and include everyone that they meet. Support teams really help me become more of a leader, and my favorite thing about Montessori is that we have more freedom. I spend most of my time outside of school doing gymnastics, so I decided to make my symbol a collage of my gymnastics photos. These pictures are from when I first started at 2 years old to now. Gymnastics is a big part of my life, and I have been doing it for 9 years. I am an Excel Gold gymnast at Charlotte Gymnastics Academy, and gymnastics has taught me to face my fears and believe in myself. Whenever I'm scared to do a skill, my coach and teammates always help me get through it. To excel in gymnastics, I had to work 3 to 4 days a week for 4 hours each day. Gymnastics takes dedication, practice, learning from failure, and perseverance. I would like to thank my parents for helping me get to this part of my life, for driving me to school, gymnastics meets, and practicing and making sacrifices for me. I would like to thank my teachers, gymnastics coaches, and friends for always supporting me. In the future, I am looking forward to going to the AP and excelling in gymnastics and skills. Here is my first day of gymnastics when I was 2 years old. Here is when I first started pre-team, which is before competition seasons. And this was my very first competition season. This is my second competition season in 2018. And here's my third competition season in 2019. And here was provincials, which was a competition in 2019 in my third competition season, and it was a very important competition. And here I am now. Here's just some random photos that I take of doing gymnastics. And here are the team photos. Thank you for watching.